Good afternoon, Year 6. Today in our RE session, we're thinking about bringing together our knowledge, whether it was prior to our unit that we had or from the 5-week unit that we've looked at the Quran and its influence on the lives of Muslims and how people teach themselves about the Quran and their families about the Quran and how it influences their life. To be successful today, we'll need to think about how people care for the Quran and the copies they have of it. We'll need to recall the key aspects of it and how it portrays the Prophet Muhammad. We need to consider how it influences Muslims, and we need to identify the methods that Muslims use to learn about the Quran. We need to think about what the Quran says about God. Can you remember those multiple ways that he was described? So just have a look. Got all these different names, and there's many more that we thought of. Adjectives that are used to describe the idea of the individual, the ruler, the nouns as well. And some of the words which are used to describe whether they're merciful or compassionate, whether they're inspirer, the guardian, the victorious. What does it say about the person or the being who's at the center of the faith? Okay. How is the Quran treated? Do you remember? Do people treat it roughly? Would people treat it as they do sometimes school books where they drop them on the floor? Would they accept if water got spilled on them? Would they accept if somebody borrowed it and didn't give it back? Can people scribble in? Do people just leave it? Do people use muddy hands when they touch it? How does it show that it's special the way it's treated? Somebody here who's reading the Quran is this child treating it with respect and care, or are they treating it roughly? When it's stored, is it stored in a special place, or is it just stored on the floor without things that are cared for? Behaviors that people exhibit. So when people have been influenced by the Quran, the teachings within the Quran, and whoever does evil or acts unjustly to his soul and asks forgiveness of Allah, he shall find Allah forgiving, merciful, and fighting God's cause against those who wage war against you and do not commit aggression. For verily, God does not love aggressors. And be constant in prayer and render the purifying dues. For whatever good deed you send ahead of your own selves, you shall find it with God. Behold, God sees all that you do. Whoever of you lives to see this month shall fast throughout it, and he that is ill or on a journey shall fast instead for the same number of other days. God wills that you shall have ease, and does not will you to suffer hardship, but that you complete the number of days required. So the idea of fasting, the idea of not being aggressive, how are these influenced? We talked about the lessons that people face, whether it's the loss of a son, like Michael Rose, whether it's assessments, whether it's the need to help people. And obviously, people of the Islamic faith do help people both as part of their faith and independent of it. Whether, like these cricketers, you're faced with a decision as to whether you cheat or you don't, how you might be influenced by the Quran or by other books. When children are taught about the Quran, some of them, such as yourselves, are in mainstream school and learn about it solely in mainstream school. But if somebody is a Muslim, then they will send their child to a place. Can anybody remember the name of the place? So these children, they go to school in the mainstream school, and then after school, they go to a specific place to learn about the Quran and learn about being good Muslims, learn about the Islamic faith. Madrasa, yeah. And we saw, didn't we, that sometimes these are situated in classrooms, sometimes they're situated as part of mosques, and every single one is different, but all of them are centered on the idea of children becoming good Muslims, learning about the Quran, learning about the messages held within it, learning how to consider and to be responsive to others and others' needs. Part of being a good Muslim is that you adhere to the rituals within it. So if we think about the word ritual, we think of the idea that it's a religious or solemn ceremony consisting of actions which are done in a particular order. Ritual actually demonstrates from the Latin again, ritualus, relating to religious rites. We can see people at the Hajj where they're attending the great trip, but as part of that, there is the guidance within the Quran that we looked at earlier to fast every year, but there's also the guidance that at least once during people's lives they'll take a pilgrimage to Mecca. And these people are taking it when they can and going to Mecca and observing the rituals and the rites there. Proceedings, formalities are synonyms for rituals, and antonyms would be ad hoc. So something that's without thought would be ad hoc or off the cuff. So adherent Muslims then, so people who are part of the Islamic faith, adherent Muslims engage in various rituals as part of their faith. So it's not just Ramadan. It's not just the Hajj. There's many different elements of being a Muslim that can be rituals, as with all the faiths. Today then, quite a short video because the main part of what I want you to do is think about how Muslims, what it was. What is it? How did it come to exist? Why is it so important to Muslims? How do Muslims show their respect for that book? How does the Quran give guidance to Muslims? And how do parents teach their children about the Quran? Now, there's some words at the bottom: Muhammad, revelation; revered, ritual, mosque, recitations; Arabic, Bismillah; Allah, morals, values; and madrasa. I'd like you to try and use as many of those words in your piece of summarizing as you can. And you're going to try and bring together the key points about how Muslims are influenced by the Quran. We've looked at this for a few weeks. You've thought about it. If you're still unclear, talk to people and try and do a little bit of research yourself. If you're somebody who has Muslims in your house or has Muslims in your family and you can speak to them as well, it'd be great to have an expert's opinion on it. Now, I am not an expert in this. As many of you know, I'm not a Muslim. So if some of you are, it'd be fantastic to learn from you. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate your efforts on this. See you soon.